Hello, and welcome to Visibility for the Public Cloud Test Drive, implementing the Gigamon Visibility Platform for Amazon Web Services. You've started your test drive by going to www.gigamon.com/AWS, clicking on the Test Drive button. Then you were asked to fill out a small form to gather some information from you. Now you should be waiting to receive an email that will have your login credentials and other information that's required to perform this test drive. This is an example of the email you'll receive when your test drive is ready. The first link in the email is for Fabric Manager. It's a hyperlink. By simply clicking on it, it will open up a web browser to GigaVUE-FM. By using the username admin and the unique password that's printed here, you'll be able to gain access to GigaVUE-FM. The next item in the list is Traffic Viewer 1. This is a tool that you'll use in the use cases. It contains Wireshark and another tool called Sigil. You'll connect to this using Remote Desktop Protocol, sometimes referred to as RDP. In order to access it, you will use the access hostname, that's the DNS address that you see there, and you'll also need to use the private IP address when you're in the use case and creating a tunnel to this specific tool. The next item in your email is Traffic Viewer 2. Traffic Viewer 2 is another security tool, but this one exists outside of the AWS VPC and is running a tool called Wireshark. Like Traffic Viewer 1, you'll use the Remote Desktop Protocol to connect to it via its access hostname. And again, it also has an IP address. However, this one is a public IP address because it exists outside of the AWS VPC and will be needed to create the tool tunnel. Next, we have the vSeries node. The vSeries node is a Gigamon component whose purpose is to send traffic from the monitored workloads over to the specific tools. In this particular case, it has a private IP address for linking to Traffic Viewer 1 and a public IP address you'll need for linking to Traffic Viewer 2. And finally, before you begin your test drive, make sure you download the step-by-step guide. You can do this by clicking on the hyperlink. It will download a PDF that will lead you through all of the use cases and what you need to do to complete them. Before you jump into the use cases, it's helpful to understand how the visibility platform by Gigamon is able to integrate with AWS or Amazon Web Services. In this example, you see a hybrid approach. That's because the visibility platform exists within the on-premise data center. What we wish to do is extend this into the AWS VPC. We do that by going out there and connecting the GigaVUE-FM to the Amazon APIs. From there, it is then able to launch the visibility tier, which consists of the vSeries nodes. Agents placed on your workloads are then able to copy traffic and send it over to the vSeries node, where it is able to aggregate that traffic and distribute it across to custom tools that exist within the VPC, as well as tunnel it back to the visibility platform and tools that exist within your on-premise data center. Of course, this solution does not require that you have a visibility platform on your on-premise data center. In fact, the entire solution can run inside of AWS. In this example, you can see we have a SecOps VPC where we locate GigaVUE-FM and we have the tools that we want to do monitoring with. Then your applications or business units can have separate VPCs that connect to the SecOps VPC via VPC peering. Inside each one of these VPCs, a vSeries node or a series of vSeries nodes will be running where the agents on your workloads will be able to forward the traffic to them and then have that tunneled back across the VPC peering link to the tools that exist in the SecOps VPC. This is an example of the test drive environment you'll be working in. This simulates having tools that exist inside of a VPC as well as tools that exist outside of the VPC. Inside the VPC, you'll have vulnerable applications that will be running the agent. In addition to that, you'll have some traffic generators. One, a good traffic generator. Another one will be a bad traffic generator so that we can have security tools determine good traffic from bad traffic. The agents will then forward packets over to the vSeries node where, based on the flow maps that you create, will send that traffic over to tools that exist inside the subnet or to tools that exist outside the subnet. In order to do these use cases, you will need to have a remote desktop protocol client on the Mac or on your Windows machine, a web browser, as well as internet access. If you have not run a remote desktop client before and you have a Windows machine, you can do this easily by going to the Start button, typing in MSTSC, and it will bring up the remote desktop connection client. All you have to do is put in the access name from the email and click on Connect, and it will go ahead and connect into that client. The username is going to be Test Drive, and the password is going to be Gigamon123. Once connected, you should see a new desktop appear on your screen. And from here you'll be able to run all of the tasks that are outlined in the step-by-step guide. For those of you that use a Macintosh, you can go out there and download a remote desktop client by simply going to the App Store and searching on Remote Desktop, and then downloading the Microsoft Remote Desktop. You will use the same access hostname to access the remote desktop. There are instructions in the step-by-step guide how to use the Macintosh client. The visibility platform is pre-configured and deployed in the test drive environment, so you can focus on the tasks defined in the use cases. You're going to do 3 use cases in this test drive. The first use case is gaining visibility in AWS. In this use case, you'll be creating your first flow maps to send traffic into the traffic viewer both in the VPC as well as outside your VPC. In use case 2, we're going to be looking at traffic-specific flow maps, where you'll create multiple flow maps to send specific traffic to specific tools based on their protocol type. And then in use case 3, we want you to see if you can detect a threat inside your VPC by creating a flow map that sends traffic to a security tool in the application's VPC and see if that tool can detect any type of suspicious traffic. Now that you had an overview of the test drive environment and understand what you're going to be doing, what are your next steps? First, you need to wait to receive your test drive email. That will contain all of the important information you need to log into the test drive. The test drive environment itself will be available to you for up to 3 hours, so you have plenty of time to complete the test drive at your leisure. While you're waiting, if you want some more information, you can go to the following link and you'll find plenty of information, including white papers, on our solution in AWS. And then once you've completed the test drive, look for a closing email with a link to have Gigamon contact you to schedule a proof of concept deployment in your AWS environment. Thank you for participating in the Gigamon Visibility Platform Test Drive.